Good morning. Happy Sunday. Welcome to my channel. My name is Maria. So I wanted to make a short video today. First, check my volume. I'm talking kind of low. Okay. So good morning. Happy Sunday. For some people, it will be Happy Sunday Fun Day. For other people, it will be the Lord's Day. I once said Happy Sunday on Facebook, and a very, very religious person got upset with me. She wanted to let me know it is not Happy Sunday Fun Day. It is the Lord's Day. Okay. Okay, for you it is. Okay, so I was going to talk about church life and the cult personality, but I won't because it's Sunday and it might offend people, right? Because everybody needs something to believe in, and there is a real difference between believing in your church and having an actual relationship with a power higher than us and an entity that created us, that some people call God and other people call by different names. So I'll leave it right there. I think everyone does need a higher power, a heavenly or celestial parent or someone they're accountable to higher than on this earth. And that person for me is God. And I won't find that person inside of a concrete building. That person lives in my heart and in other people's heart, hopefully, at different times, I guess. Maybe not. And all around me. So enough said there. So what I wanted to talk about today is, do we need diagnoses? Do we? And once you get a diagnosis, does that help our process of healing? Does it help us to have a name for what we are suffering with, for an explanation of our behavior? Does it help or does it hinder us? Do we believe the diagnosis is the end all? Or are we diagnosis driven and we want to keep adding alphabet soup onto our diagnoses? The reason I ask this is, in the mental health community, what I find very often is people will reach out, share their diagnosis, and when others will come along and read it, they will think right away, okay, I have that. But I also have this, 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 and this. Or I have this, this, and this, but I might have that too. Do we need that might too? Not really. Really, the only thing that matters is our behavior and our functioning, how it evolves in our daily life for us and for others. So if you should find out here on the internet that people are talking about either DID, bipolar, generalized anxiety disorder, post-traumatic stress, trauma recovery, whatever they're talking about, major depressive disorder, eating disorders, do we have to identify with that in order to understand it? Do we have to identify with everything a person is going through? No, we don't. That is my opinion. It's just my opinion. We could be empathetic. We can be compassionate. We could, and I'm going to talk about empathy and what that truly is, because it's not being an empath. A lot of people think they're an empath, so they feel everything, but actually what they become is, I want to say like a scouring sponge, like uh, everything they feel gets near them and they want to fix it, and yet they end up getting all scratchy from it. It's like so much, just scouring that thing. So instead of being like a sponge where you absorb and then squeeze it out, and shake it off. They don't. They start scraping back like, oh, your stuff is too heavy for me. Let me let me just do this right. Um, and they usually leave a person that's sharing feeling worse. So not all empaths do this, but people that think that they're all feeling too much, and it's because they're empath. They can't be around anything negative, or they can't hear anybody else's pain because it just brings them down. That's something else entirely, and that's something that probably they need to put in check with their own mental health. But yeah, okay. So that's what that is, but it's not being an empath, feeling too much. Um, I'm going to talk a little bit about people that pick up on other people's energy. um, when I was diagnosed with MPD, there was this prevalent thought back in the 80s that if a person was splitting or switching, when other different personas walked in a room or were switching, that lights would flicker. Excuse me. It's not my phone ringing, it's that going off. Thanks. My plan was to get up before the alarm went off and, you know, make my video earlier in the day. So there's this thought that energy would change when a split or switch happened. Like the lights would flicker, or power wouldn't work. Sort of like the things people used to say about Prince. Prince Rogers Nelson, the musician, the artist formerly known as Prince. People would say, it's weird. My computer just didn't work when I was talking to him. I mean, I understand that experience. I've had it. Can some people have so much going on, so much kinetic energy happening in their body, so much mental energy, because it's all energy. Can we put forth so much energy in holding off a switch or change from one alter to another ego state? Or do we blow the power out when we walk in a room? A lot of this, really, some of this talk started to happen after Trudy Chase, who wrote One Rabbit House and who also co-produced a movie on her life, Voices Within, and then went on to write Creature of Habit, A Journey. When she was talking to her doctor about lights flickering, like her daughter, Kari, noticing that lights would flicker, and people noticing that lights would flicker when she would switch. I guess it could have, but I don't think that has anything to do with it. I think that's just reading too much into it, and I think it kind of muddied the waters for a lot of people, where it made it all more sensational. I believe Kari knows I feel this way because I think I wrote to her once and I told her. And there's a page on Facebook for trudychase.com. You can get her new book, Creature of Habit, if you haven't gotten it. It's fantastic. Trudy passed away in 2010, in March, but she had already written her second book, a follow-up to One Rabbit Howls, but Creature of Habit, A Journey was really just looking at fear and the journey that all people go through to find their voice when they're afraid, after she had been in a long depression, because once she had told everybody she was multiple, done the talk show circuit, written the books, made the movie, she still had to get up every day and go on with her life. And being multiple wasn't the problem. Having more than one alter ego operating with her was not the problem. And Kari will tell you it wasn't the problem. Problem was she was moody. You didn't know what you were going to get. You didn't know. And that is really the basic problem, and triggers, and what triggers a person to set them off. But what secondary survivors have to worry about with MPD-DID is what's going to now set off all the alters. Like, is there a inner child or protector or a matronly person or a very religious person, part of you that is going to come out and say, or run away or make your body behave in a way that you, or say something that you would never say. And then later, you don't own it. And that is kind of the real gaslighting feature of DID MPD that goes on, that I absolutely despise, that I know I did, that I know you don't do it consciously, but once you know you do it, you can actually stop doing it. Um, so I wanted to talk about integration and some of the things that first happened years ago, but were considered just a merge. So again, I was diagnosed in 1986, my 30s, late 20s, 28, 27 to 28. Um, and I'm 63 now. I went to therapy for 30 years. Um, I still maintain self-care. I still have a therapist I check in with once in a while when I need to. But we don't talk about multiple personality. We talk about moving forward. We talk about what can I do? We talk about that was then, this is now. We talk about you're a whole new person now. You're not all those people, you're just one now. That is confirmed to me every time I go to a therapist is you're just Maria now and you're enough. And um, you can honor all those parts that helped you get to where you are, and they're still with you, and they make you you, um, and honor their journey. Um, and some people, like maybe family and friends, might see me as different now. Um, and when you merge and when you have integrations and then you're finally completely integrated, there's always a chance that the integration can come undone. It's just like anything else you're managing in life. It you can have, I guess, and some system groups or people that think that they are living with more than one will find this offensive. But the truth is, it's just a flare up. That's what it is. It's a coming undone of, it's not that it's dysfunctional, but it is a disassociating that's going on that beckons another part of you to take over. So that's the best way I can describe it. So it started with small merges that my therapist and I always called combos, showing up together, sitting through therapy together, taking turns talking, realizing and understanding and hearing your own, actually hearing your own self, not hearing each other, hearing your own self. Like, did you hear how you just said that? Do you even hear what you just said? Do you hear how you sound? Why are you behaving that way right now? It's an accountability. It's an accountability. And you realize you just stomped your feet. You realize you're sitting like this. Why are your shoulders up to here? What's going on? You just looked down and you completely shut me out. Why are you doing that? Um, and my therapist would do that, and I wouldn't even realize I was doing these things. And he'd bring it to my attention, and I would want to really quick say it's not me, or suddenly just go there, just allow that switch to happen. I would be fighting a switch. And the only way I could explain fighting a switch is kind of all of a sudden you're inside yourself and you're stuck. You just, it's like a vacuum, like you're just sucked in for me and in a spin. Like, how do I get back out there? So it's a loss of self. You feel like you're just disappearing. And now you're just watching everything. That is disassociating. You're outside of your body. Some people experienced it as being out here. I experienced it as being in and couldn't get back out. So I could hear my therapist saying this to me, and I'd be like, "I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it." But I couldn't say it. Like, I'm not. I'm not the one that turned away from you. I'm not the one that's making that face. I'm not. But before I had the diagnosis of MPD, DID, when I was diagnosed, it was called MPD. Before I had the diagnosis, I would just snap out of it. Be like, "What? Like deer in the headlight? Huh?" And shake it off. Now I was aware I have other alters, personas, ego states. Wonder who it was. Wonder what they want. Wonder why they're here. Wonder what they're going to do. I better let them talk. What? It is a belief system that we are taught, we operate and function with. Okay. So the same can be said with other diagnoses, not just MPD, DID. So the first step with integration for me was showing up together and sharing time, space, energy, body, and whatever I'm doing, and feelings, and good feelings, bad feelings, silly feelings, feelings you're ashamed of, um, whatever. Showing up together. I didn't really feel the need to run around and tell my family, "You must call me so and so now." I know that I did that for a while. I know that I thought that was proper therapy, was to say when someone else was out, and say when, like, I think so and so is here with me today, or or I'm co-running with. I even for a long time wore a bracelet that said coexist. I even almost went so far as to follow the trend in multiple communities, which was wear different bracelets for different names of people. Like put them on your wrist, little bracelets. If you're co-running with, say, if I was co-running with Astrid or Tommy or Joanna, put all their bracelets on. What what makes you think by the time you got to where you got to, that person might still be there or whatever? Just because we've actually taken our brain apart more. I mean that we've torn ourselves apart. And pathology creates profit, you guys. It does. It does. So I see so many people trapped in a life of therapism. They're just living for their next therapy appointment. And there's enough in the world to make everyone crazy and sad and traumatized. And it's good to go to therapy. That said, be careful of therapism. Be careful your life doesn't become, my therapist said, my therapist said, my therapist said. Keep your own mind, follow your gut, realize you have power, that you are not being controlled by others. You are not being controlled by others. It's actually a unwillingness to take responsibility for your own behavior. That's what it is. And I know what I'm saying is hard to hear. Uh, Whenever I start talking about integration, I lose people right away. They just start deleting immediately. Um, Years ago, I used to think of integration and write about it in a journal, and people thought of integration as you're killing your alters, or you're not accepting them, or you're not giving them life, or you killed your character, or it's just horrible things, or would you kill your kid? No, it's not my kid. It's my brain. It's my brain on running around in circles. That's what it is. Um, can you fix it? Yeah, you can. You can. It's your brain shadowboxing your brain. You're got this whole movie going on in your brain, and you're running around in tunnels and channels of your brain, hiding from yourself. What are you doing? You're hiding from the world. You're hiding from what happened to you. If you were traumatized, because there's a whole lot of people that don't believe they were traumatized. So, okay, so you weren't traumatized. So then why are you running around in your head creating other people? So, and nobody knows. Do you need to be traumatized to create other people, or do you just like to have an alternate reality with a whole bunch of other people? If you do, why are you going to a therapist if it's not a problem? It's just that simple. So I'll continue talking about it. But what I want to say, most importantly today, is the diagnosis doesn't matter. Most of the tools you'll learn for major depressive disorder, anxiety disorder, obsessive compulsive disorder, all all of it, borderline personality, all of it includes staying in the now, not being so reactionary, doing a body internal scan, external scan, and self-care. I'm not talking about treat yourself every day. I'm talking about self-care. I'm not talking about making so many boundaries that you got walls up around you because you don't want to listen to anybody else. I'm talking about our world is filled with boundaries, self-care, putting myself in a bubble. I'm doing self-care. I'm shutting my ears off. I'm not listening to anything. Yeah, stay away from fake news. Stay away from people that are toxic in your life. But then ask yourself, what is toxic? Is it just because you don't like what they're saying? Is it just because maybe it's true and it hurts you? Look, I spent my life in a bubble. You can get into therapy and create a bubble where only your therapist understands you and only the group that you go hang out with on the internet that also are a bunch of multiples understand you. Or you can get out of that bubble. Okay? If people around you, your husband, your wife, your children, your mother, your father, everyone you meet has to walk on eggshells around you because they're afraid you're going to switch, or they're looking to see how are you acting, are you really you? You're the one with all the power. Too much. And I am ashamed of that. That's my shame. That's what I'm working on now with my therapist, is how dare I get to the point where I was walking around all these different personalities and everybody. How was that? And when you get to the other side of it, again, that you will be kicking yourself and going, you might even find yourself saying, why did I even believe that? That doesn't mean your therapist made it up. It means you entered into a real belief. You entered into fantasy and you stayed there too long. So I just want to keep it really real. If not everyone out there is narcissistic, not everyone out there is toxic. Sometimes people are just telling you the truth and you don't want to hear it. I find that people with post-traumatic stress disorder, generalized anxiety disorder, and people with post-trauma abuse that have been told they have dissociative features, not otherwise specified, or other specified dissociative features, or DID, are the hardest to convince that maybe you have more power than you think. Maybe you are manipulating. Maybe you are using your alters, aspects, parts that you created for a purpose when you needed them. Maybe you're using them now when you don't need them. And now it's just manipulation. And you're going to stay stagnant until you take ownership of your own feelings. And I find this with people with diagnoses. I keep going back to Girl Interrupted. I keep going back to Girl Interrupted. When people say borderline, borderline between what and what? In the famous words of Suzanne Kazin, said in the movie by Winona Ryder. What about Lisa Rowe, the character Lisa Rowe? Are you going to be a lifer in therapy? Is it okay to be a lifer in therapy? You don't have any really big secret. You just aren't happy. You just can't get along with anyone. You just aren't happy with working. You just aren't happy with where you live. Every time you get with people, they grate on you. Everything bothers you. You're a lifer. You could end up in therapy forever for something that bothers you, for something you don't agree with, for authority you don't agree with, something. So, it's just really important not to take these diagnoses too seriously. Now, major depression, I would take seriously. Anxiety, I mean, when it's affecting your life, then you go to a therapist. You go, okay, social anxiety. I'm so anxious, I can't go out. I'm having a panic disorder. I'm having a panic attack. Kind of hard to ignore that. You take care of it. I'm, mm, I'm I'm creating clutter in my house, trying to make it neat. I'm trying to be organized. I'm making more clutter. You're obsessive compulsive. Why are you doing that? I'm overeating. I'm comfort eating. I'm stuffing food in my mouth. I'm barely even chewing it. Why am I doing that? I'm stuffing an emotion. Get help for that. I just can't eat. I'm afraid to eat that. I can't put it in my mouth. I can't. Looking at the scale again. Scale went up. Scale went up 2 ounces. Oh my God, I can't eat today. Get help for that. Um, you're all smarter than you give yourself credit for. Every single person out here, we're all smarter than we give ourselves credit for. You and I are the experts of our minds and our bodies. We were created in God's image. I say God, you might call God Allah or Jehovah or whatever. He, she, I don't care. We were created by something greater than us that was wiser than us, that knew how to create this machine, this computer, our brain that runs our body. And if we're created in that entity's image, then our body is talking to us every day. Our brain is going to talk to us every day. And we need to know when to say, okay, I'm going in another room now. I'm done listening. I'm done. I'm going to go do something else. I'm not going to listen to that rhetoric going around in my head. Oh, yeah, my body's doing that again. Yeah, I see. My foot's flaring up again. Okay, I'll pay attention to you. Oh, look, this is swelling again. I'm having a swollen day. Well, gonna have trouble hearing, gonna have trouble swallowing today. Woe is me. I mean, really, our body does talk to us and it tells us exactly what it needs. So does our mind. But most of all, our gut, our God instinct. If you're hanging around people that you know are not okay for your health, you can call them toxic or you can just stop hanging around them. If there's certain members of your family that you love to see but you can't wait to get that away from them, then that's just the way it is. Doesn't mean they're bad people. They probably feel that way about you too. Um, don't know why we have to have these stories, why we have to have a good character, a bad character, an evil this, an evil that, a toxic one, a narcissistic one. I don't know why we create these sceneries and these stories in our head. But when we're creating, we should also be creating a a sacred space of grace for them, a way to redeem these people. Uh, uh, Same as when you're looking at the alter ego aspects of your personality and my personality. There should be redeeming qualities in every single alter ego aspect. If your therapist is telling you this person is a protector and they're there to persecute you so they don't have to feel the trauma they felt when they were a kid, stop. Get a new therapist. Go. Go. You're hurting you. You don't have another personality alter that's hurting you. You're hurting you. You're blaming it on your alter. Okay? So every aspect alter ego that you used to get through your trauma has redeeming qualities, and there was a time they were needed when you were younger. You don't need them now. They're already part of your personality. They're ingrained in your personality, so they're not separate from you. They're you. Okay. And I know I've offended a lot of people that live plurally or more than one. And some people that just believe they developed more than one and they can live that way as an alternative lifestyle, as a almost like a subculture. I got an alternative lifestyle. Okay. Okay. I identify with more than one. Okay, so did I. So do I every day. But I'm still me. And it's important for people to know that. That's all I'm saying. I'll keep talking about the integration process and what it was like for me. Might not be that way for everyone, but the things that will be true is what I just shared. If you're shadow boxing in your head, running away from your feelings, then you haven't done the work yet. And you're the only one that's tearing yourself up. Okay, take care, everyone. Thanks for hanging in with me. I hope you'll subscribe. I hope you'll come back for more. Some days it's going to be more raw and real, and you're not going to like what I say. I didn't like it when I learned about myself. I didn't like knowing the truth. But the truth is, we do have more power over the past than we give ourselves credit for. And if we sit on a couch in a therapist's office too long, keep making another appointment, and this is not against psychiatry, it's against therapism. If you get to a point where a doctor has told you this is the way your life is, expect to be this way the rest of your life. Oh, you now have this, and something you have to learn to live with. It's probably going to get worse before it gets better. It's probably never going to go away. So you got to learn to manage it. Managing is important, managing and everything. But is everything forever? Nothing is forever. Okay, that's all. Take care, everyone. Bye bye.